We sing the national anthem. Guide us with thy mighty hand. Keep us free from evil's power. Be our light through countless hours. Through our leaders, great defenders, grant true wisdom from above. Justice, truth be ours forever. Jamaica, land we love. Jamaica, 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 land we love. Teach us true respect for all. Stir response to duty's call. Strengthen us the weak to cherish. Give us vision lest we perish. Knowledge send us, Heavenly Father, grant true wisdom from above. Justice, truth be ours forever. Jamaica, land we love. Jamaica, 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 land we love. I want to thank you. You may be seated while we get started in this program. It is, of course, the Vauxhall High School past students worldwide, educational support, and it's the tablets for learning handing over ceremony. Today being Friday, March 5, 2020. Welcome. To bring you welcome is a familiar face and voice for those who are in grade 7. Your very own vice principal and a past student of Vauxhall. We invite Miss Annette Campbell Burke to come and welcome you to this function.
Good morning, everyone. Okay, so it is indeed a pleasure for me to be standing here this morning just to welcome you to Vauxhall High School. There are some persons who we know, and there are some persons who we have never met. So welcome. You know, last year, around this time, March, the world changed for us. And things have not been the same. This is a different time. And it is a time when we realize that we need to be our neighbor's keepers. Yes? And so we have to begin thinking about the person next door, how they're coping. And that is what Vauxhall is doing. So Vauxhall has been thinking about our parents. And we realize that it cannot be an easy time for you because some of you might have lost your jobs. We are facing difficulties. And so it was with that we decided to ask our past students to see how best they can help us to get your education going, continuing. And so we reached out to the Past Students Association, and a group of students, past students from 1986, they reached out to us and they gave us 21 tablets in December. And today, We just want to thank the Past Students Association, the New York chapter, for continuing this and for presenting us today with 40 tablets for our students. I am imploring you, students, make use of the tablets. Don't be at home playing games while you're supposed to be in classes. We have heard some complaints, and I say, a mother punching somebody, but I'm not even saying anything. I'm not even looking at them. Students, the Past Students Association, they got together with the money that they are working in snow and all of that, and they came together to put together the funds to purchase these tablets. Please, I'm imploring you, I'm begging you, make use of this opportunity. All right? So I just want to welcome everybody here today. I welcome our parents. I welcome our past students representatives. We have Mr. David Reed, and he will tell you who he is very soon if he has not yet done so. We have Miss Doreen Latty with us. We have Miss Carby Karen right down there. I'm also seeing Mr. Timar Jackson. Anybody ever hear about Timar? Anybody ever hear about Timar Jackson from Vauxhall? Nobody has ever heard about Timar? Somebody said Rhodes Scholar? Oh, he's a past student. Yes, so we have, Vauxhall is famous for our Rhodes Scholar. One of the reasons why Vauxhall is famous, yes, because we have been a school to produce a Rhodes Scholar, and we have, Mr. Timar, I know that you're down there and they're not seeing you. Can you just come and take your seat while I introduce you so that they can see you? So here we have today our Rhodes Scholar, Mr. Timar Jackson. All right, come on, I want to hear a round of applause. Look here. Rhodes Scholar, big thing, you know. You don't understand, a school like Vauxhall maybe should not have produced a Rhodes Scholar, you know. It belonged to the other schools, the one them where, you know. But bless the Lord, we have a Rhodes Scholar today, and we are glad for you, Mr. Jackson. And we also have past student Rosalie Fraser, a member of the school board, with us as well. So we're going to be out here quickly, so don't worry yourself. I hand over back now to Mr. Reed. Welcome, everyone.
All right, I want to thank Mrs. Campbell Burke. She's doing a wonderful job at Vauxhall as your vice principal. Put your hands together for her once more. Yes, I did mention that she's a past student, and she mentioned in her speech from 1986, right? Long before most of you were born, but she has been contributing to Vauxhall growth and development for over 20 years as a teacher and now the vice principal. We want to get out of here in 1 hour, so we are going to be moving along. Now, when the pandemic started last year, a group of past students, as you have heard Miss said, start to look as to what they could do for the school, right? And the person who had led that initiative is the president of the New York chapter. He is President George Roach. At this time, we should be joining him on Zoom to give an overview of the project. Can you put your hands together for Mr. George Roach? And can we zoom him in?
Once again, good morning, Vauxhallians. Madam Vice Principal, Mrs. Campbell Burke, Moderator, Mr. Berger, President of Vauxhall Parish Student Association, Jamaica, Mr. Timar Jackson, former President of Vauxhall Parish Student, the anchor, Mr. David Stephen Reed, presenters, Mrs. Karen Carby Guttrid, and Mrs. Doreen Latley. Good morning, and thank you very much for making this a success. So how this come about? As you know, the pandemic hit the entire world, and most school all over the world has to be closed and going virtual. So the Vauxhall Press student of New York decided that, or we heard that there was many students without devices, and we decided to come together, make a donation, and get these tablets done. We were able to purchase 40 tablets because we were trying to do this in a hurry, actually, so the student will have it by school reopen in February. So from our group, it was expanded to Vauxhall in all across the world, from England, Canada, and all over the United States. We got a number of Vauxhallians that supported us. They are not a member of the club itself, but they are Vauxhallian, and we going to say thank you to them at the end of this meeting. But through WhatsApp, we were able to get people to donate. Some people donate anonymously. Some people don't want their name to be out there. But the fact of the matter is that they came in support of this. And once we get the donation and we purchased these tablets, we were able to send them to Jamaica. And thanks to the National Education Trust that assists us to clear this through custom. And a big thank you to Mr. David Reed, who I call the anchor because when I say the anchor, he was the last leg of this operation to receive it in Jamaica and make this ceremony a success. Now, also, I want to give a big thank you to Mr. Vice Principal, Ms. Burke, for getting those names to us and to David for us to find those students who was in need of a tablet. And today, these children don't have, or these students rather, don't have that issue of being out of a tablet. So as you know, New York is a big supporter of Vauxhall. There's things that we would like to do and things that we want to do. But because of the pandemic right now, we are a bit short and many things to do. But the struggles still go on, the work still go on, and we're working towards this is going to be an ongoing project. We're working on some more. Hopefully by September, we'll be able to have some more tablets come down to Jamaica. To the student who receiving these tablets, I want to congratulate you first of all, and I want you to make use of this. I want you to make sure that you take pride, you do your schoolwork first before you start playing around, and hopefully you can change Vauxhall, the image, that in turn you be that change in Vauxhall with the entire change Kingston and change Jamaica. I also want to thank the vice principal on the work that she's doing with the student and Vauxhall. And as she being a past student herself, I know her passion is there. And I really want to thank her very much for being supportive to us here in New York. And I want to just give a big shout out to all the donors. I'll just give you a brief, I'll just run their name down. Cecile Lewis, New York. Lois Posada, Paulette Henry, Michael Anderson, Marvelly Atkinson Whittaker, Angela White, Marcia Vassal, Patrick Morgan, Karen Tamers, Robert McGee, Richard McGee, Dave Frey, Paul and Debbie Allwood, Joy Thomas, Everton Berry, Michael Anderson co-workers and friends, Sharon Mighty, Christopher Davis, Trevor McCurdy, Carol Morris, Patton Liebert Hewitt, Ollie Logan, Ian Williams, Peter Leslie, Roy Cummins, Leonard Davis, Andrew Graham, Marie Graham, Marie Henry. Those are the list of donors that make it happen. So a big thank you to all of you in Jamaica. And hopefully we can do some more. and make all of you happy. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, President George Roach from the Vauxhall
Thank
Past
you.
Student Association, New York chapter. Can you put your hands together for him? He can hear you in virtual land. So we are moving quickly along, and all the past students who have made it possible by contributing, we want to thank you. And of course, we
Second.
will have that aspect of the thank you from the students themselves. We want to move into the presentation, and we're going to be inviting Mrs. Karen Carby Guthrie, a past student. Should I tell you? This year, 30 years, you have left Vauxhall. Wow. 30 years since she have left Vauxhall. And she will be making the presentation to the first set of students. And as you heard Mr. George Roots saying, please make good use of it. You have heard Mrs. Annette Campbell-Burke saying, please make good use of it. Tyrese Campbell, is Tyrese Campbell present? Tyrese Campbell, grade 7, new to Vauxhall. Come. We want you to become a very proud Vauxhallian. Gridley, someone? Gridley? Wait. So I'm going to call some names, and you just stand to the side where your vice principal is. Rodine Little, I'm not sure he's here. Shanique Smith. Imani Morgan. Devon Smith. Jade Facey, just stand to the side there. So we have now Mr. Summon. All right, receive your Shanique. Imani? Is Devontae Smith here? Jade Facey? Jerome Gardner? So Devon Smith. All right, thank you, Mrs. Guthrie. We now ask Miss Doreen Lottie, and she's currently the assistant PRO for the Vauxhall Past Students Association Jamaica. And please note that these tablets met the Ministry of Education specification. We were deliberate in making sure. All right, so we have Jerome Gardner, Daniel Guthrie, and while Daniel Guthrie makes his way, Oris Orient, stand on that side. Don't walk in front of the camera, please. Casey O'Connor, Javari Gardner, Rikisha Wright, Malik All, Destiny Walters, Kimali Bartlett, sorry. All right, thank you, Miss Lati. We will now invite our Vice Principal, Tremaine Matthews, Shade Williams, Kishani McLeod, Dravid Brown, Devontae Vossel, Siani McIntosh, Javier Clark, Delita Rose, and Yolanda Forbes. Miss will make presentation to those set of students. Thank you, Madam Vice VP. We now invite board member and past student, Mrs. Rosalie Fraser, to make the next set of presentation. Kalicia Smith, Jamali Brown, Jodian Johnson, Jabari Brown, Lamonus Anderson, Alonzo Barnes. Thank you, Mrs. Fraser. We move to our president of the Past Student Association, Ishmael Small, Brianna Gray, Tyrese. Tyrese Mangasing, Eureka Forbes, Shenando Reed, Shane Blissett, Naika Francis, Shamari Henry, and Kareem Sheriff. And after he has made these presentations, he will come to the podium to just give a small charge to all the recipients to tell them of what is expected of you in going forward. All right, so the next voice you hear at the microphone will be that of the president of the Vauxhall Past Student Association, Jamaica chapter.
Thanks, David, and good morning, everybody. Really happy to be here this morning to deliver this charge. I'll try to be as brief as possible, but I want to make sure that the message is clear. First of all, let me thank the past students associations worldwide and all the persons who would have contributed to this effort to ensure that each and every one of you here today receive a tablet, and to ensure that you can connect to your classes, you can connect to the World Wide Web so that you can access additional information that will be useful for your growth and development. So, I'm not a pastor, but in thinking about the charge to you and the gift that you've been given and how you should use it, I came upon the parable that Jesus gave about the talents, right? So I just want to quickly talk about that and then have us think about how that applies to this particular situation. So Jesus delivered this parable about a master who is going on a very long journey and he's going to spend a very long time. And so he calls his 3 stewards, his servants, and to each of them, he allocated some talents. Now, to the first servant, he gave 5 talents. To the second servant, he gave 2. And to the third, he gave 1. Then he went on his way. Now, you might be asking, what is this talent about? Let me tell you what a talent is. A talent is basically 80 pounds of silver. 80 pounds of silver. And silver was a store of value. It's like money back in those days. They did a calculation and that 80 pounds, each talent, that 80 pounds of silver would be equivalent to about 6,000 denarii. Right? And each denarii would be a day's work for each person. Right? So when you work that out, to each of his servants would have given the equivalent of about 16 years of work for an individual. So it was very valuable, super valuable, each talent. Now he went on his way, he left for some time and came back. After he came back, he wanted to take an account of how the servants would have managed those talents. And so, the first and the second servant, they came up and they said, Master, we invested the talents that you gave us. Right? And the first servant, with the 5 that he received, he actually multiplied it by 2. So he was able to hand his master 10 talents. The second servant did likewise. So he was able to hand his master 4 talents. The third servant who received 1 talent, he basically came to his master and said, Master, I know you're a man who's miserable and you're very exacting and so on. So you know what I did with the talent he gave me? I took it and I buried it under the dirt. So here, Master, I have 1 talent to hand you back. Now I want you to understand something. There's a concept of time value of money. So the longer, as time goes by, the value of your money don't worth as much. And for some of us, remember back in the days we could buy a cheese stick for $5. Today a cheese stick costs how much? Like $50 or more. Back in the days I could get a mother's patty meal for $50 with 2 cheese patty and a drink. Now I can't even buy a patty with that. So essentially then, that third servant, what he would have handed back to his master is something that is worth less than what his master gave him. Right? And for that, he was rebuked by his master. And his master said, hey, see, because those guys were able to multiply the talents I gave them, I'm going to take this one from you and I'm going to give it to them. So there's this concept of to whom much is given, much is required, right? But then to those who have, they will be given more. And to those who have not, it will be taken away. So how does that apply to you today and this gift that you've been given? Now, I want you to think about the fact that for these gifts that you've been given to come about, somebody had to make a sacrifice, right? And for some persons, they have the attitude of, if it's on a name brand, then it not worth nothing, right? If it's not Dell, if it's not Sony, if it's not Samsung, if it's not Apple, then it not worth nothing. But I put this to you. Each of those tablets, and I think George would have mentioned to me what the cost of each unit is. For each of those tablets that you've received, if you were to work out how long somebody would have to work in Jamaica at minimum wage, they would have to work about a week and a half at minimum wage in order to give you this tablet. You understand what I'm saying? I want you to think about the value which has been handed to you. And beyond the cost of what has been handed to you is what can be done with it if you use it properly. You get me? So if you think about how the two first servants used their talents, I want you to adopt the same attitude. Ask yourself, today, now that you've received this thing, how am I going to take care of this thing so that it lasts me long as possible and I have the full use of it? And how am I going to use this to its maximum potential so that I can get the greatest benefit from it? Now, when we talk about usage, I think David would have mentioned it. And the Past Students Association have made a very, very significant effort to make sure that the specifications that are outlined by the Ministry of Education are met. So what you have in your possession today meets and surpasses the minimum specifications required for tablets that are to be used in schools by students. Right? I want you to see this thing, not for what it might cost or the brand, but for what it will be able to do for you if you're able to use it wisely and properly. This device that you now have will give you access not only to your classes on a daily basis, and there are many students out there who still will not have access to the classes because they don't have a tablet. It will also give you access to a body of knowledge out there, right? That you can use to enrich yourself. You will have access to the information that I have, that Mr. David Reed have, right? That your vice principal have, that Elon Musk have, that Bill Gates have, that all of these guys out there have. You have access to it through the internet, through your device. You've been given the opportunity that the students up by Campion, up by Arden, KC, JC have. You've been given access to that information. So I want you to make every single effort to take advantage of what you've been given and access those resources. Make the best of them so that you can enrich yourself. And when the master come back and ask, what have you been able to do with what you've been given? You can say, Master, I've been able to do this, I've been able to do that. I've been able to pass all my subjects with A's and B's. And as a matter of fact, I'm on my way to doing a couple CXC subjects. That's what I've been able to do with my tablet. And I've been able to teach myself Spanish using YouTube. I've been able to learn math and catch up on the English language because I've used my tablet. I've been able to read 10 books that are free on YouTube through this tablet. This device that you have is very powerful, guys. I want you to make the best use of it. And congratulations on being one of the recipients today. Take good care, parents. I encourage you to help them make the best use of it. Have a good day.
All right, and so we want to thank the president of the Past Student Association, 2014 Rhodes Scholar, member of the board and all that. He has a wealth of knowledge. He's always available, so you can look him up and he will also pass those knowledge. And with the use of the tablet, has the talent. You know, when the master come, he will be able to look at you when you pass all those 6 C's and so forth to say, these are those who have passed through great tribulation. Timar, you went there and you caused me to start preaching, right? And their garments are now washed white. You have got to use the tablet to go there and have them. We have 2 other presentations for 2 students who came in. And then we are going to do the voter thanks and we are going to close. So Miss O'Connor, and Levante Smith. Levon Smith. And then we're going to be asking Mr. Ishmael Small to just come on your behalf to tell the past students thanks for their presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. Well, I'm here saying thanks to the past students that made this day possible for us. So we got an opportunity with these tablets to do well in school and so we can be on class and all that stuff. And so I'm just here saying thanks to the past students.
And with that, we have come to the end of today's presentation. Short and spicy and sweet and all of that. We want to thank the past students in New York. We want to thank the past students in Jamaica. And continue to learn. Continue to learn. And of course, you will benefit from that hard labor in learning. Thank you so much. All right.